Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a bit since I've put out a bunch of content. You know, life happens, it gets in the way. But today, what we're looking at, I want to get started again, right? And put out some more content. I got a project I want to start working on. And that would be this right here. My 1963 Willis's wagon. Willys. I've heard it both ways. I've been told that he pronounced it Willis's, even though it's spelled Willys. This here is of the 1963 vintage. You can tell that because, well, because of the way that it is, to paraphrase a better guy than I am. But it's the windows, right? This is a single pane of glass on the rear window and a single pane of glass on the front window. It was early 63. I think it was 63 was the year that they split, where the early 63s had a split window front and rear. And anything prior to that also had the split window front and rear. I don't remember when they stopped building these things. It wasn't that much later than that. I've had this thing for about 20 plus years, I'm pretty sure. And well, most of the bad stuff on there is due to me, and I'll take full credit and responsibility for what I've done to it. This thing was actually my daily driver for quite some time. It's got the stock front end of that Dana 35C, or closed knuckle front end. The rear end is out of a GMC Jimmy. I believe this is a GM 10 bolt. On the inside here, we've got a couple of seats out of a old Jeep, I think Grand Cherokee. Couple of spare tires, two different ones, because the rear end is a 6-bolt lug pattern, the front end is a 5-on 5.5 bolt pattern. We've got a spare steering column and a brake pedal assembly, and that's for a specific reason. So up front we have a non-matching grille, and behind that grille, we've got the venerable Chevy small block, 350. Back in that 350 up would be your 700 R4 transmission to the, is it an NP203 transfer case? I believe it's a 203. I could be wrong on there. You can see we have a throttle body injection set up on here, and you can see from all the soot on there that we've got problems. So like I just said, we've got problems with this thing. It doesn't want to run. I drove this thing daily. I had a short commute to work, and I drove this to work for several years. It's just fun little putter around town vehicle. But my commute to work was about 3.5 miles or so at the time. So my commute to work is now 25 miles, and since that time, I just didn't drive this very much. I'd fire it up and I'd drive it every, little bit here and there, once or twice a year. And then something went south on me, and I started backfiring through the throttle body. And that's what all that soot and discoloring is. So since it started backfiring out of that throttle body, it just doesn't run very well. It's time to fix that. Well, let's keep walking around a little bit. You can see right there, that's where the battery used to go. It was in the way of the V8. Because of that, I built a quick battery tray and moved the battery over to this fender. We also, what else do we have going on here? That's really about it in a nutshell. It's actually a fairly clean vehicle overall. We do have some issues. We've got a little cracking right there on the steel of that fender. A little bit of a ding. Previous owners had a CB antenna right there that, some kind of angry gerbil they cut out with, and they had a gas can mounted there. Coming along here, these generally rust out. You get dirt back up in here, and that rust out right here is bad. We got some rust out here, and then this is my fault. I just cut that whole fender. I cut that whole fender part out because of the rust, thinking that I'd replace it, and I just haven't done that, and that was 20 years ago. Let's see, back bumper, I don't know what this is. You know what, they tried real hard. I mean, but that's obviously not a stock bumper. I went ahead and tossed on a trailer hitch on there at some point. Dual exhaust. It's nothing special, just some thrush mufflers with some 2-inch pipe. It does sound nice. It's quiet and runs. Let's see what else we got back here. Oh, we've got LED truck trailer tail lights, because the previous or the stock tail lights were all damaged, all broken and busted and hard to find. So I'm kind of sorry about that. Oddball different size tires front and rear because different axles. Rust issues right there. And you see, this is what I was talking about. Dirt gets back up in there, and that just holds that moisture. Talk about moisture. That just holds that moisture and doesn't allow it to escape, and it rusts out. Almost all the Willys wagons that I see, they have that rust right here and right here around the fender wells, if not worse. Other issues, all the seals on the windows are pretty much shot. This one has some has some impact damage right here with just caked on layers of Bondo. Oh yeah, Snowmageddon we called that several, oh shoot, 10 years ago. We had just snow for, oh, there's 3 feet of snow on the shelter that this thing was under, and it collapsed the roof and caused that damage. And we also have right here a little bit of rust. I don't know if you can tell, but they got a little bit of extra ventilation right there. That's sad. Busted window. So this is running throttle body injection. The body's really not in that bad a shape, honestly, guys. This is all repairable. Throttle body injection. Wiring is an absolute mess. Let's see, computers right in there. You can just see there's moisture everywhere. We're in the wet season right now around here, and it's just, I want to get this thing running. It's going to take some work to get it to point to where I can work on it. So I got to get this thing fired up and ready to drive so that we can then move it over into the garage so I can work on it. Because, well, fellas, I can't work in that. So we're going to try to get this thing fired up and get it limped into the garage so that we can work on it inside the garage. Once we're at that point, then we can come up with a real plan of what we're going to do to this thing. I've got some ideas, and I think I know what I want to do with it. So, what do I want to do with this thing? I love the lines of these wagons. They're just cool looking vehicles. Not eminently practical for a guy with kids, but we'll make that work. I want to make this into just some sort of a daily driver again. Something that I can hop in and drive that's reliable and just fun, you know, puttering around town, going into town, in and out, doing chores, stuff like that. Oh, I forgot to mention, yeah, hood's got some issues too, where it popped off. It popped off in about a 50-mile-an-hour windstorm while we were towing this thing back from Colorado when we bought this and a couple of its brethren. So that is what it is. Anyways, what are my plans for this thing? So I want it to be a safe daily driver, something that I can haul my kids around in and feel pretty good about. That means you won't be able to see it down in there. But this has the good old-fashioned single pot of death brake master cylinder. So it's got one master cylinder, one reservoir that controls all 4 brakes. And if that reservoir goes, or if you have a single brake line fail, you've lost all your brakes. Whereas in a modern vehicle, you have a front and a rear reservoir on your master cylinder. So if you lose a brake line, all right, I'm going to jump in the cab. We're going to crank this thing over and see if we get anything wiggling. Hopefully, well, we'll be looking for fuel coming out of the injectors there and see what we have happening. Well, that was anticlimactic. I do believe we have what's called a well, a dead battery. So let's go ahead and get some jumper cables on this thing and try to get this battery charging up a little bit. All right, so I've got the Nissan over here with the jump start and battery cables on there. Let's see if it'll crank over and if we're getting any spray out of those nozzles. Let's see if we got anything here. Oh. I don't think I'm getting any fuel. Fuel pump might be bad. Let's try that out. We'll see if we can get any fuel going. Nothing. Oh, it's just sad news, guys. Sad. Nothing. All right, well that answers the question. Why won't it start? Got to have fuel, spark, and air, and we don't have any fuel. So here's the deal. We got to get this thing pulled and pushed into the garage to work on it, because the fuel pump is in the tank. And well, it's a swamp down there. Not just a swamp, but it's a wintertime swamp. So it's about, upper 30s right now. So what I'm saying is, I'm not going to be crawling around on the ground in the mud to troubleshoot and replace that fuel pump in that tank. Maybe we can hook up an auxiliary setup. Maybe that's the way to get this thing to fire up. Maybe let's take it out of park. Let's try that. So it's in the garage. This will be great. This will be way better to work on. So we've got to drop the fuel tank, replace the fuel pump, run into town, grab a new battery, and well, we're just going to step through this thing one part at a time. We're going to get it running, driving, Figure out the motor. If we have to tear the motor apart, replace the motor, find another junkyard motor to throw in it. But just one bit at a time. So once again, my goal at the end of this is to have a driver. And that means, you know, 4 good tires on the same wheel pattern. Maybe even we'll have some windshield wipers. I mean, it's you know, right there, that's maybe some windshield wipers, stuff like that. Knock out a few of these dents as best I can. I want to be learning that part of it as I go, as far as the sheet metal part of it. Quiet it up a little bit. Just in general, I want to make this just a fun little drivable rig, and that's what we're going to do. So yeah, let's rip out this battery and run to town, and let's just get GoPro, stop recording. All right, so got a new battery, the Superstart economy variety. I didn't realize this. They have economy batteries behind the counter. They're like 60% the cost of their premium, which are all the ones that are on display. Anyways, we're going with the economy because I'm cheap. And hopefully this will be enough to get this thing started and see where we're at. I anticipate this project is going to take, well, longer than I want it to. And so there's no sense in putting in a premium battery just to have it go dead from age over the months or years. Hopefully it won't take years, but over the months that it takes to get these projects going. So we'll go ahead and connect this battery up, and then we'll take a look at the fuel system. All right, I got the fuel tank sitting on the ground there with the new fuel pump in it. That fuel tank's out of a GMC Jimmy, no, I don't know what it's out of. Something out of a junkyard. But I picked one up out of a junkyard because it has the right opening for a GM fuel pump for the throttle body fuel injection. So, new fuel pump's in there. Let's turn on the fuel key, see what happens. I believe I can hear it. My hearing's not the best. But fuel pump on, I'm in park. Let's see what happens. All right, it starts. It sounds, I got the idle turned up pretty high. I did that trying to, well, when I was playing with it. So we'll fix that. Well, let's see what happens. That actually sounds pretty good. I was expecting it to backfire. There's a chance that the engine trouble I've been having with this was just a fuel delivery issue, and this fuel pump might have solved it. There's a chance it might not. We'll figure that out in a little bit. Let me clean up. I'm going to put the fuel tank back where it belongs. Hold on a minute. You can definitely tell what time of year it is. Oh, I didn't mean to chase them out. Cats are looking for anywhere warm and comfy that they can hang out on. Definitely that kind of time of year. All right, phase 0.5, I guess. Feels like I kind of have something like brakes. New fuel pump, new battery. Yeah, that's something like brakes. Up in. the driveway. Oh man, that thing's I don't know about these brakes. They're there we go. That's what I was talking about. That motor's not quite happy. These brakes aren't happy either. Oh yeah, you hear that? Mm-hmm. We've got some issues with this motor. You gonna run back to the house? All right, so there we go. It runs, but not right. We've got problems. But we got headlights. Brake lights. We've got power steering by Armstrong. What a neat old rig. Go ahead. Go. Make sure my boy heads back to the house first. So we've got some work to do on this thing still. But that's all right. That's part of the journey. Bad fuel, maybe? I don't think so. That could be part of it. But I think we've got some problems with this motor. So we'll step into that. We'll take a look at some of the diagnostics on this motor over the next little while. And keep working on this thing. This thing is just too darn cool to let sit for too much longer. It's time to get some work done on it. But guys, that's probably where we're going to end this video tonight. We got a lot to do on this thing, but it's worth it, and so we'll keep working on it. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. Well, there we go. 1963 Willy's Wagon. Burnt valves? Maybe. Fuel delivery issues? Quite possible. Cracked heads? Probably not. Who knows is what I'm saying. If you guys know what's wrong with this thing, let me know. I want to keep working on it though. And we'll figure this thing out and we'll get this thing back on the road, shine it up a little bit, clean up, make it the way that it should be. So thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Get out there, work on something. Maybe it's an old project that, been just kind of gathering dust for the last, 10 years or so. Maybe something brand new. But get out there, go do something fun. Catch you on the next video.